We have no more time for alternative facts, Max. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to give you the facts, figures, and proof about why supply management is a system worth fighting for. Now, I'm not sure if you're aware or not, Max, but we live in Canada, where there's this little thing called winter. It usually lasts about 5 months a year, and that means that farmers need to spend their entire growing season preparing and storing crops to last the entire winter. Some of us also need to pay to heat our barns and facilities to take care of those animals. Now, I'm sorry if that sounds a little condescending, but the reality is that milk and eggs and turkey and chicken cost more under these conditions. So when you make comments like milk is less expensive in Australia and New Zealand, it's not a fair comparison.
You know, it's a 365 days a year, 7 days a week job. And if we're going to do that, we need to know that our income is going to be enough to cover our expenses. And with supply management, we have that. We have the stability in the market that tells us that year in and year out, we will make enough to cover our costs. And that allows us to invest in things that improve animal welfare, that improve energy efficiency and environmental stewardship. It allows us to make investments that make the work easier and allows us to expand our business without fear of the market falling out from under our feet.
Hi Max, I'd like to take this chance to share with you why supply management is important for my business. It gives my suppliers, my feed mill, my mechanic, my tractor supply company, all of the companies that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, the stability to know that they can invest in their business for today, tomorrow, and the future. It allows a company like my feed mill, who supplies pig farmers like myself, along with dairy, chicken farmers, and beef farmers, the stability to know that they can invest in their business. That means that I get very competitively priced feed along with my dairy farming and beef farming friends.
A lot of people think that supply management prevents new people from getting in, and I don't think that's necessarily true. It's not easy, but in what business is it easy to start out? You have to spend money to make money, and if it's something that you're really passionate about, there are ways to go about getting into the business. There's new entrant programs, there's financing because it's so secure, and if it's something that you're really passionate about, there are ways to do it. It's not necessarily going to be easy, but there is options out there.
Beyond my own business, I think that it would be folly to forget how important supply management is to rural communities. We look at my hometown of Listowel with a vibrant downtown, lots of small businesses supplying the surrounding farms in the countryside. Without having a stable rural economy, we don't have stable rural communities. Supply management is an important pillar to ensure that families like my own have all the services that we need out here in rural Ontario. But what is the value of rural Ontario, rural Canada? To me, there's no better place to raise a family. It's one of the best places to grow up in the world. But for us to be here, for us to raise our children, we need to have schools, we need to have hospitals, we need to have all of the infrastructure, no different than if I was living at Yonge and Bloor in Toronto. And supply management is a key part of ensuring that we've got those stable rural communities. It builds wealth not for the farmer, not just for the farmer, but for every other person that's touched by that chain. And we cannot belittle the impact that has on the quality of life for all of us living out here in rural Canada.
In June 2014, the farm gate price plummeted in New Zealand, down 20 cents per litre in 1 month. No explanation, only because milk was traded on the open market. Problem is that animals are not a field. You can't just turn them off. And that is why these products do not belong on the open market. What is the farmer supposed to do when their product is suddenly worth 30% less than it was the day before? We are privileged to live in the beautiful country of Canada, and we are also privileged to have some of the lowest food costs in Canada. By February 8th of 2017, the average income resident in Canada earned enough to feed themselves for the entire year. Our food costs only makes up 11% of disposable income. But you believe that supply management is bad for consumers and it makes food too expensive. Fact is that you're wrong. Want to know what it is in the US? 9%. Seems we're not that bad off as you'd like to think we are. You have been quoted in saying that you will cut the price of milk in half. Right now, farmers make about 75 cents per litre of milk. Whatever left goes to the retailers and the processors. What you're proposing would be that the farmers would be paid 37 cents per litre, which would mean that they get paid 5 cents less than what is being paid in New Zealand right now.
The demand for chicken is always growing. So, and we're able to match our production to meet that demand and to grow our production to meet the demand in the marketplace. And that allows us to do things like last year in 2016, Chicken Farmers of Ontario donated over 175,000 kilos of chicken to food banks. And the stability in our market has allowed us to do that. It allows us to have enough production and enough income to meet our demands and have enough extra to share with those who aren't as fortunate as us.
To the farmers who may be watching this, you may or may not agree with supply management, but we all know eliminating it would cause significant harm to our neighbors. Max's ignorance is not limited to dairy and eggs. Ask yourself how much his lies and false sense of reality could harm your farm. That's why we need to vote for a candidate who understands and is open to learning about Canadian agriculture. We stand together against the
Politics of division and lies.
We stand together to strengthen Canadian agriculture
by electing a leader who will build us up.
Time out. Before you alt-right uber conservatives get triggered and totally lose your shit, let's just be clear, this production is not a paid political ad. This is just friends with a common goal expressing our right to freedom of speech.